Raupatu River Trust and Waikato Regional Council Co-Governance Committee meeting for the 23rd of September, 2025. I'll ask Tutahanga if you can open us this morning.
Tuki pai wawata ngā hua I mua I te aroaro nei. Kia whakaoti pai ngā mahi I tēnei wā. Kia kina hoki ngā tangata māwiwi ki roto I ngā hohipera, te haukainga, ngā pauaru, ngā rawa kore I ngā whānau panu. Nō reira, inui atu tēnei ki a koe I runga I tō ingoa tapu. Āmene. Ahuri, ki ngā mate. Ngā mate o tēnā iwi. Kua hinga te tōtara nui, te wao nui a kāne. Ka tumu te heuheu, tūkino te tuawaru tērā. O te kāhui aunga, o tūwhare tō hoki. Kua hinga tēnei wiki, ka nehua tēnei wiki. O reira, haere atu rā. Haere ki te kāinga tūturu o ngai tāua te Māori. Haere ki te kupenga nui a Taramainuku. Awheturangi tia. Mai tēnā kāhui, whare kāhui areki. O te kāhui maunga ki te whare kāhui areki I Kingitanga. Nā waihono I te pō, tunga I tōna ahurewa tapu, whainoa ki potatau te whero, huri noa ngā whare kāhui areki, ai marere kia rātau. Ki ngā manukura, ki ngā mārei kura, tēnei hui, I ko tai mai nei a tinana mai. Pai tuku, roro hiko hoki. Tēnei te mihi atu ki a koutou. Nā mana whenua o te rohe nei. Mihi mai karanga mai. Tāti ake nei I tēnei wā. Tīmata mai te hui I raro I te korowai aroha. Reira, tēnā tātou. Kia ora, tātou katoa.
Ana e tū, e mihi ana ki a koe. Nā anō e tuku ngā kupu whakamoimiti, porowai tia mamatau I tēnei wā. Ai tautoko ana nā kōrero, ai te tōtara nui, whare o te heu I hinga. E hinga ana, ki mui tō tātou nei aroaro. Wharo ana ki a rātou katoa, a tātou nei uruhi koroheke, a puta noa, a tātou nei marae maha, o ngā pani ngā pauru nā rawa kore. Whakaro ana ki tō tātou nei maunga ko taupiri, ara kua neke mai a taupiri I tērā taki wā ki tōna hoa pirongi. E whai whakaro ana ki tāna mokopuna, e takoto ana ki roto I te moana nui o taupo nui ātia, ki roto I te poho o na iwi kato. Huri no, tēnei no te mihi, te whakatau I a mātau I tēnei atatonu. Whakaro ana ki ngā pani ngā pauru ngā rawa kore. Te tātou nā hunga ora, e mahi ana ngā mahi mo te iti mo te rahi. Te ariki nui, kuini ngā waihono I te pō, o tōna koronei hana tuatahi, kuaia. Wai whakaro ana ki a kengi tu hei te pōtatau, te whero te tuawhitu o te tai pō, rātou katoa kua whitu. Yeah. A kia tātou ki te ao marama, ki te mahi ngā mahi mā tātou nei iti, me te nui o tangata, he oranga noa mā tātou katoa, kia tātou e noho nei, e whai whakaro ana ngā māramatanga pai, mā tātou nei whānau katoa, hurino, tātou nei whare, mihi ana kia koutou nā ringa hāpai, te mahi ngā mahi, te oranga te take. Pai maringi kia tātou.
Ngā whakamoiniti, whakapeta, I tanga, I te iwi, te ringa, I te oranga,
Ki tō tātou nei whare, ki runga, kia koutou katoa, ringi te purangi. Ki roto I tō tātou nei mahi o kōrero I tēnei rā, ko te wai ora. Kia mātou, I te wai mauiwi ana taupiri, tono atu ia ki tāna tungāne, mai tētahi wai oranga mōna, he ora ai te tangata, te whenua, te wai, he oranga no mā tātou. So whai whakaro ana, kia rātou wa tātou nei heringa ki te tō whenua, kia tātou anō e noho nei, hurino kia tātou. Pai.
Thank you very much for opening our hui today. This is the last hui for this triennium. As we work our way through, we'll just we'll address the various items that are before the committee, but also maybe at the end we can just reflect on how this has gone for everyone, and just give our acknowledgements for the time that we are blessed to spend together in these co-governance arrangements. Yes.
Just through the cheers, is it okay to give a bit of a whakamaramatanga of what I said?
Oh, sure. Yes, absolutely.
It's a sort of, yeah, kapai. So as Tu mentioned, one of the rangatira from the House of Te Huhu has passed, and a lot of our people have passed as well. But I sort of shared about taupiri. So taupiri, in our narrative, actually come from that region. And so taupiri with Pirongia, they got together as connecting. But even before that, at that same time when taupiri fell ill, her tono was to request healing waters be sent to her from her brother, hence the Waikato River. And so in our narrative, the kōrero of the awa and the wai being sent kia ora ai, so that her well-being and the well-being of the whenua and the people will be looked after. So that was her request. And so the linking of all of this is quite significant, especially in the mahi that we're doing. And so in part of the karakia as well is that we actually make decisions, good decisions, that understand and bring well-being for all of us, and just wanted to share that narrative because that's what we sort of did and shared in the karakia as well. So yeah, so we get a sense of understanding, and it helps us sort of address from our perspective as well an understanding for everyone. So I just wanted to actually share that,
Great.
and that's what we actually asked. So kapai.
Thank you.
Kia ora.
Thank you for that. All right. Apologies. We've got an apology from trustee Narangi. Any other apologies? No. Can I have a mover? Councillor Clarkson, second, and trustee Jeff. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. So we'll go to confirmation of the agenda. The agenda is on page 13 of your agenda packs. Any clarifications or anything? Nope. All right, I've got a mover and Councillor Nickel. I'm happy to second. Oh, sorry. Trustee Turner. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Disclosures of interest. Any new disclosures from committee members? No. Oh, yes. Oh, just microphone.
Just said a member in other JMAs as well.
All right. Health and safety statement. I believe everybody that is in the chambers has been in our chambers before, so should be familiar with our health and safety procedures. Very good. There's a emergency follow, Brooke. Very good. Okay, now just so we can note, we do have some people online and we have some members in the chamber. So I'll just run through. We've got myself and co-chair Jackie. We've got trustee Green, Councillor Nickel, Councillor Clarkson, and trustee Turner. We also have Councillor Mahuta online as the official members of the committee today, but we also have Councillor Smith as attending as one of the alternates. We've got Councillor Strange, and online we have Councillor Marr and Councillor Kneebone. So welcome, everyone. Okay, we'll go to the minutes. This is on page 15 of your agendas. This is the minutes of the 3rd of June, 2025. Do I have a motion that those are true and correct? I've got a mover and trustee Collier, or co-chair Collier, and a second and Councillor Clarkson. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, we'll move to our first substantive item. This is item 7.1 on page 67, the Climate Alliance MOU. Did you want to say something or?
Oe te tuatahi, tēnei te mihi kia kōrua tū, me Don, me whakatūwhera tō tātou hui, i tēnei ata. E tautoko ana tō kōrero, i te rangatira o Ngāti Tūwhare toa, tumu te hauhau, moi mai, oki atu rā. I just wanted to note the pretty important action that was in the minutes around each organisation circulating the recommendation around the JMA review, and in particular the review of the extent of the JMA. So just wanting to make sure that that's captured in our action list, which I'm sure it will be, but just noting that.
Yes. Thank you for that. So we'll note that in action list for next triennium as we move forward with this kaupapa. All right, so the Climate Alliance MOU, who will be speaking to this? Oh, Tūtahanga.
E rauranga tira mā ngā tia tāngata me mō te ropu nei. Tēnā tātou katoa. I'll take that the report has been read, but the purpose of the report is just a few opening statements before I'll open it for questions. So we're seeking committee endorsement for the revised MOU, and we're recommending approval to council. The key elements, it's anchored into Ture Whaimana and the Waikato Tainui strategy, climate strategy. There's a clear separation of governance intent with the MOU and delivery through the strategic alliance framework. There's one operational working group for all parties. It strengthens accountability through 2 complementary reporting tables. And there will be no new baseline funding required before July 2026. The benefits, it embeds the relationship we have with Waikato Tainui. It supports marae and hapu and collaborative work. And it builds a regional leadership and a stronger platform for joint funding bids. Unless there's anything that Jennifer would like to add, I'd pass it back to the chair.
Councillor Nicol.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Te Tahanga. I have spoken to this a few times before. It's been gradually building throughout the last year or so. It was born out of the observation that there are multiple councils working with Waikato Tainui and Nerohe. And when the climate strategy was coming out from Waikato Tainui, it occurred to me that we all have a strategy. It'd be interesting to see how they align and have that overview across all of the councils so that we're not doubling up and we're not missing something. As an example, since the Te Nehenui JMA has been stood up, they would not require something like this because it's got the district councils all together with them. And so the oversight is kept by all of the councils at the same time. But here we have obviously multiple JMAs. I believe you mentioned before, Trustee Turner, that you are on all of them, as I understand. So you would have the oversight, but almost all of them. But yeah, so that's where it's come from. And the great report, Tutahanga, I think it really comes together quite nicely in paragraphs 18 and 19, that it's about a more coherent regional response. We could maximize our ability to attract external funding by aligning both at the operational level and having that oversight. And it really clearly outlines that it's happening anyway already, and staff have found, from what I've heard, this to be very effective. And so while it would be, we have this MOU to make sure that we're aligned at the governance side as well. And so, yeah, just keen to see if there are any further questions from here. It has gone through the Climate Action Committee as well, so had lots of positive feedback there a fair number of months ago. Yeah, it's in that same direction. As you might have heard on the campaign trail, people talking about shared services and like I said, the intention was very much born to try and make things easier for Waikato Tainui as well, having to deal with so many different councils. That's all I really had to add.
All right. Did you want to move that? I do see that Tipper was happy to second. Did you
Yeah,
want
happy
to
to
move
move
that,
it. Thanks.
Councillor Nicol? All right. Any questions? Any comments? No?
Comments, if I can. So firstly, thank you for the report, Tutahanga, and the working group for all the mahi that's been put in over the last 6 to 12 months. Also want to acknowledge, Jen, your leadership in really promoting that coordinated approach and I guess supporting regional council staff to really take a proactive role in pulling that together. There are a few things that I really appreciate and like about the Alliance, and that is that includes getting our operational arms together to talk about something that's critically important in different ways to different parts of Aotearoa. how climate change affects our marae varies depending on where they are. So having everyone in the same room is wonderful. One of the successes that I think I've found through this last triennium of the JMA is having clear work programs. So again, this work brings that to the table, so we have something to monitor against, report against, but then the individuals working on the mahi have something to focus on as well. So I really just want to express our support of the MOU, support of the work that the working group have been undertaking without, I guess, the formality of it all, and say that we're happy to support the resolution and the work continuing. I think it can only bring good things to draw focus to the impact that climate change will have on all of us, but it also helps highlight some of the areas that are most important to Waikato Tainui in, I guess, the initial stages of responding and being more prepared, and draws in things that we've talked about over the last 3 years around civil defence, our marae preparedness, all of those things. So seeing it in one place where that focus can be given to it is something that I think will be really practically useful and mean that we're making progress together. Kia ora.
Thank you for that. Councillor Smith?
Yeah, speaking rights, thank you. Just something that would help, because we're dealing with this tomorrow at council, and it's great that we're in the room here and able to talk about it so we know the views tomorrow. So under the scope, we've got the 4th and 5th bullet points: improving water protection through iwi-led monitoring and restoration, and promoting Maori-led climate policy and seeking joint funding. So, and I've got one issue under excluded, so I'll deal with these first two. I'm assuming that this is in partnership. So the council will have its own policies on water protection. Do I mention PC1 or whatever? Promoting Maori-led climate policy. So this is an addition and supporting council where they align. I'm just and it's great not reinventing the wheel. And so iwi have established a protocol supporting that. So this is an addition to that, or is it? I don't want to end up with council and the aspirations here being in conflict. So perhaps
that work is based on current activity. So the work program is a distillation of what councils are currently operating under. So it includes council work, and it's trying to bring together.
So it's basically outlining mirroring what we're doing now.
Yes.
So in the excluded activities, which is infrastructure projects not aligned with climate goals, because it's excluded, maybe we don't talk about it, but we've got the Motor Karakia project at the moment, and there's tension within that project. These are my words, that I see. Yeah, and perhaps if I can turn either to Jackie, who's in that space, do you see having this mentioned here any relevance to that Motor Karakia project, or this comment actually assists?
Jump in if you like.
I guess in my mind, the Motu Karaka project is a great example of how we're actually trying to take the future impacts, or current and future impacts of climate change, into account. So I wouldn't see that line being associated with that project.
Yeah, and the way I would read the scope section is, let's say that there was some funding we wanted to seek from central government to do something together. The things that would be in the included activities would make that a reason why you would apply for that funding, and the excluded activities is why it wouldn't be part of what this operational group does, this across the councils, and it wouldn't make it onto the tables that you see at the back of the paper, because it's just not in scope.
Right.
Yeah. So it's just trying to give guidance, considering the number of parties involved, that when they're thinking about what to add to the tables in future, in which case they'd have to add funding for that too, what kind of things that they should look at and what kind of things they shouldn't. So if it's not got anything to do with climate goals, it really doesn't need to be that working group's mahi. And it doesn't
Okay.
need to
No,
be our
appreciate that.
monitoring under this. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate the clarification. Thank you.
Yeah. And you'll find the tables there at the very back, which are, there's a yellow orangey one, the priorities led table. That's one where everybody could see everything that's happening. And that's quite useful because they're quite different activities. Hamilton City, for example, doesn't have marae in the same way that Waikato District does, but a lot of Waikato Tainui membership lives in the city. So there's perhaps something Hamilton City might like to do in that space to support people in their homes or where they play in that sense. Or work. Yeah, so it's quite different work when you start looking at it across the different districts, which is why I thought it's good when we are keeping an eye across it all together that some of them will not involve all the partners. Some of them will involve everybody because there might be a benefit to it. And then if you do just want to have a look at your own stuff, and you can see you've got 5, I think, on the green table on page 9. The first 4 are all things that we've already covered in this JMA, and there's a 5th one down the top of the next page, which is collaborative heritage projects, which is mentioned in the actions page. So very much nothing new is started by approving this MOU. It's just the framework to capture for one picture for those staff especially, and for those of us interested in the governance space, that it all fits together. Yeah.
Now, as this is going to council tomorrow, I do note that there are some of our other councillors online, and so just thought I would extend the opportunity for any points of clarification or any questions, yeah, we do have time, so just opening that up. We've got Councillor Kneebone, Councillor Marr.
Yeah, I'm all good, thanks, Madam Chair.
Great. And Councillor Mahuta, noted your second, but no comment. Councillor Marr, any questions? Any points of clarification ahead of tomorrow?
No, not at this stage. Thank you, Pam.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
Nice.
Don.
Through the chair. Through the chair, just yeah, really like to acknowledge the mahi that's been done by the team. Because this has been sort of one of those slippery kinds of complex issues that have been quite hard to
Pin down.
pin down.
Yeah.
So one of my questions is this as a result of the all councils meeting that we've had together with Waikato Tainui?
I could just add that it certainly gave me as a councillor more exposure to what Waikato Tainui's lived experience with the councils is, because obviously that desire was there to have that all of council hui. And so I'd say that's one of the seeds of just obviously trying to think about how we could make our partnership work in that way that's actually easier for you guys. The other seed was many a Zoom call with Lorraine Dixon, who would tell me about her experiences with other councils, including Auckland Council, who she tells me does great work, really great work, and how we had a bit of catching up to do, actually. So, yeah, no, definitely. It's been really good.
And so being a part of that, and I think others that have been on more than one term that have been working within the different municipalities or JMAs would probably really appreciate that we've got to a point where everyone is identifying, projects and being able to work that through as teams. And so to actually be a part of those other JMAs and actually see something that's actually come together where everyone has identified the work streams and being able to utilize each other's resources for the well-being of our constituents. And so when I say with Waikato Tainui and the all councils, what we're saying is for our beneficiaries, but if you can actually see, and we mean not just for Māori, hey, we can actually see the sense that if we actually sit together, identify, share the resources, everyone will benefit. And I think that's the point of kotahitanga. And so if we were to look at what kotahitanga looks like and sounds like, this is a really good start. So really take my hat off to all the team that have been working in that space, and we've got something that we can actually take as an example to work together moving forward. So hopefully it doesn't stop here. And just sharing that some of the other councils like Waikato District are actually going out there actively engaging with the marae and actually asking and doing that mahi and actually collecting that stuff with some of our whānau that are in those spaces under like with Gannon and the like. And so a lot of the marae are actually picking up on that and working together with them. So my other question would be the role of Waikato Regional Council in and around with the other councils. And I know that it's a bit early, but it's just about understanding what shaping and what that might actually look like, even with all of us. So that might be something to happen. But really taking my hats off to everyone and Regional Council for bringing this paper, Marley, and whoever's been involved, the operations team. It's actually good to see that. So mihi ana kia koutou katoa. Kia tātou katoa, all of our thoughts coming together and manifesting like this. So kia ora.
Yeah, thanks, Don. And also, I mean, I've been also trying to get the councils across the Waikato to work together, especially in the adaptation space, because we have to, from my experience with the Wharekawa project. And so it's the district or city council that leads with the community, the adaptation projects. We are there to supply that technical expertise. And so especially in the adaptation space, which we are mandated to do and really need to get on with, been trying to push them all to work together. This is just a sliver of the pie of like a tangible thing, which I think you've spoken about in the past. It's quite good to have a small thing to start with to then get that ramped up. And I've found everyone in the team, just to echo your thoughts, really keen to be doing this. It was quite organic. It was calling a meeting, pretty much everyone turned up and is keen. And separate to that as well, we've had this kind of discussion as well with the Raukawa JMA, and wouldn't be surprised if there'd be others down the track when they are ready resource-wise. But there's, yeah, I think we've got a really mature JMA here now after training, as we will probably conclude at the end. And so it's good leading in many aspects. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And I do want to acknowledge your leadership in this, Councillor Nicol, not just in what you have achieved through this Climate Alliance MOU and the collective that has fed into this piece of work, but also your efforts across the region to facilitate these conversations at a much broader level and to encourage involvement, because we all recognize that people across our region move freely between district, city, interregionally, and we also recognize that the impacts of severe and changing weather patterns don't recognize any district council boundary or city boundary or even the regional boundary. It's about how we come together, how we achieve those efficiencies that all of our communities are asking for, and get productive outcomes. And a lot of that just comes down to making sure that the right people are around the table having the constructive conversations about how we can work more effectively together. So I really do want to acknowledge you, Councillor Nicol, as a real leader in this space, but also acknowledge the staff who behind the scenes from all the parties have created a document that that sets us on a really productive, effective, cost-effective, efficient pathway. as we navigate the challenges that our communities will inevitably face. So thank you very much for all of your collective work. All right, we've got a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Well done. Well done.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, we'll now move to item 7.2. This is on page 82 of your agendas. This is, gosh, this comes around quick, doesn't it? These sorts of conversations. We're already talking about 2027, 2037 long-term plan. And we have Jane. Jane Apperley.
Kia ora koutou. So thank you. This report provides the committee with an update on our long-term planning process. So we adopted our current LTP in June 2024, and development of the next plan will begin early 2026, with adoption in June 2027. A timeline is included in the report, and updates will be provided to the committee throughout that process and in the next triennium. The council's LTP is guided by its strategic direction, and this will be one of the first actions for council in the new triennium to review and update that strategy, giving consideration to the changing landscape and the issues that are facing the region. This through co-governance arrangements, Waikato Tainui will have a critical and evolving role in shaping those strategic priorities and giving the direction of the LTP. So between November this year and March 2026, the council will be inviting iwi to take part in focused workshops to discuss those shared opportunities that will help shape the strategic direction, and which will provide the framework for the 2027-2037 LTP. Thank you.
Nice. Any questions?
Good to have
Any
the paper here.
clarification? Really, this is just about getting this in front of committee members and making sure that everybody understands. We know that that people like to be able to roadmap these things and understand where are the points of connection, where's the opportunities for input, and to help shape the direction of these planning documents that we know seem to consume so much of our lives.
Thank you for the paper, Jane. I guess I'm really keen to make sure that we have the opportunity to meaningfully input into the long-term plan. So where you're identifying your priorities, that we're, and I read in the paper that the team and other River Iwi staff have had hui about that, but really want to avoid what's happened the last two rounds of long-term planning here, which is we get sent the invitations that are basically sent to the public. So if you can think about how to make that happen in the overall program for the project, that would be appreciated. And I suggest that we start with, I guess, the strategic objectives and actions that we already have identified in our work program, in things like the Climate Alliance work program that we've just seen, and think about how you can draw the line between those objectives and what's funded, alongside other priorities that the team might identify, in particular the Taiao team, through their work program, and I guess other thoughts around how you might better give effect to Te Ture Whaimana. If you can think about that and capture that in your roadmap and schedule in, I guess, regular reports to this committee, but more importantly, working with our teams to get their direct input ahead of coming up with budget lines, that would be really appreciated. Thank you.
And Councillor Mahuta has noted in the chat some a comment on civil defense and emergency management being another collaborative approach. I think that that's also when you're talking about making sure that those different lines of activity are consolidated into our planning process, so we know that everything gets captured, nothing is sort of off to the side or comes up as a last minute surprise. I think that the other thing, I'm just reflecting on when this council set its strategic direction, we did take that around to all of our iwi partners and engaged with them on that. I think that there is opportunity for iwi to provide some real constructive input into the new council as it's developing those strategic directions, because that is always the precursor to the LTP. So let's make sure that that input is reflected early on in the piece. Jen.
Thank you for the paper. I think it's really good in here, considering the intention spoken about at the start of this training about getting this right. What would be quite good, I think, is also to not lose focus on the annual plan coming up for that new training, because it's easy to just have the updates on this, but sometimes the larger pieces of work, should there be one, require a bit of a run up, and the annual plan can be a good time to test those things or resource them so that they can be done to get things ready for the long-term plan. It'd be a shame to not be able to do something in 18 months' time because something wasn't prepped. So maybe just if there's a way in the report for the new committee to highlight the annual plan as well as long-term plan, and at some point when the committee first meets, maybe look at what are some potential things so that you can keep that conversation from the get-go and analyze whether any run-ups are required or not. Yeah, because it moves quite quickly with even quarterly meetings.
Yeah. And you raise a really important point there, Councillor Nicol, in terms of the upcoming annual plan.
Yeah.
Because a part of that will be Tahuya.
Yes. Pretty significant stuff in this area.
Very significant stuff running through Waikato Tainui's rohi. So ensuring that JMA partners are across that particular item, I think is really crucial, because for us to, I know that this council is quite prioritized on seeing that be a permanent service. For that to be achieved, we'll need widespread support.
Yes.
And so
you can kind of look at it as top-down things to inform the committee about, like the Tahuya project, which are coming from the rest of council. But then we have all of that strategic work program and Climate Alliance, these bits that I could look at as bottom-up stuff. And so if we have a list fairly early on things to keep an eye on for either opportunity, then that would probably make it the most effective we can make it at this point.
Fine, until such time as the rates go up to pay for it.
Strange.
Although
Seems so
sometimes it'll
strange.
just be the, as Pamela noted, the support for something, jointly rather than funding wise.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just also on the Tahuya stuff, just to acknowledge Trustee Donald Turner's support and expertise right from the very start, part of the working group. We did appreciate that partnership from the start and moving forward as well. But annual plan will be very crucial for that moving forward. Thank you.
All right. Any questions online? Any comments? No? I've got a mover and Councillor. Sorry.
Just
Trustee Turner.
Just a question sort of popping up. I think when the subcommittee of Te Huia got elevated in WRC, just wondering how that's connecting from future proof. and how that connects down and through to like this as a subcommittee, then it goes to the main committee. How do we input and understand how we participate in that? I think we do have someone on, but
Yeah, there is a representative on the Future Proof Public Transport Subcommittee, and then of course around the Future Proof table as well. So that's, anything else you wanted to highlight?
Yeah, so those are the current arrangements this triennium. Obviously, next triennium, we'll need to look at where best that fits in. Yeah.
So I think, would be great to get any insight that people might like to see to enable the right conversations to happen at the right place with the right people at the right time.
through the chair. I suppose, yeah, to be clear about the point is when there's a restructure in regional council, where we're a part of that we are sort of have that participation in what that actually looks like, because I think the restructure just pretty much restructured me out in the past. And so I'm just sort of learnings as what does that input and participation look like as partners, all working together in a relationship, meaningful relationship. Kia ora.
Yeah, it was just to follow on from the point that Don made really clearly just then, actually, and try and find a solution to avoid that occurring in the future, but also a solution to proactively, I guess, provide the space for the right people to be around the table for those types of conversations. So don't have the answers. I know that we have representation on the FPIC committee as Waikato Tainui and Tainui Waka Alliance too as well. But just thinking about the role that Donald in particular, but there'll be other examples, has played in that transport, that Hamilton to Auckland corridor transport space. How do we create that space for a Donald to be back around that table? I wonder if that's something that those who are more closely involved in Future Proof can think about and put on the table as regional council. We'll put it on the table as Waikato Tainui as well. But I think it's a really important point, or points that Donald's making that I just wanted to support and emphasise.
Yes, yeah, particularly as we reach such a crucial juncture in the future of.
So just once again, I think through that committee that was established, there was actual good relationships with Auckland Regional Council as well. So there was that actual direct connection in that space, and there was really good movement and understanding of what we were wanting to achieve before the restructure. And so when we're looking at Future Proof, my question becomes, what does that look like for everyone participating and having that input to make it look and that we are actively, meaningfully, in a relationship moving forward into the next term, given that this is our last meeting.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And we did have Auckland Council around both the subcommittee as well as FPIC, so they have been included in that conversation this training. Councillor Smith.
Just supporting the views that have been articulated, but I think council as well as Tainui and others need to make sure that the people appointed, and I just look at the example of Jackie, for example, in the Motor Karaka space, and Nadia, who was across that, and the Whangamarino, the connections that we are developing so that people have an idea of the bigger picture, can contribute more meaningfully than in silos if you point this one to that one and this one to that one. So we've got to get better at our connectivity and the appointments that we make so that those joint understandings are carried forward across the board. So I think it's been a start, but we need to make sure we do that better. Thanks.
All right. Do I have a mover for this interest? Oh, sorry. Oh, right. We've got a mover in Councillor Nicol and a second in Trustee Turner. Oh, sorry, Jeff. So, no, green. Oh.
We moved it. We just needed a second.
All right, okay. We got it together. The JJs. We got JJ there. Good. All right. Oh, sorry. Yes, go ahead.
Just noting the way that you record your minutes and that actions get lost in a YouTube clip that no one goes back and looks at. How can we just note the actions that we talked about, which was Jane and the LTP team, to, I guess, factor in early engagement with Waikato Tainui on the long-term planning process at the right points within the journey, and regional council in your future-proof capacity, promoting or advocating for Waikato Tainui representation in the transport space, if we're talking about the specific example, but more generally, the idea of representation from the right people in the right spaces. So how do we capture that so it's in the minute?
So I can capture it in the minute. Ashley Eden, I don't know if you want to answer to that, but she logs quite an extensive list after the meeting, and we kind of just match them up. That will be inputted in here.
Thank you.
All right, so we've got a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Right, we'll now move to 7.3. This is on page 85. Update on the freshwater policy review. And we have Taylor. Got a Taylor. And Julian? Got a Julian.
Ka pai. Kei te pai te rongo. Oi, ka pai. Tūtahi ake me mihi ka tika ki ngaku tuakana nei. Don, ko he, ka pai. Don, tēnā koe I tō whakataki karakia hei tuwhura I tēnei huinga me ngā mihi ki tō mātou ariki tumute hiuhiu. Pai, kia moi mai rā. O te rā, ki ngā kanohi kitea, he hoki ngā mahara, tēnā koutou I ngā hoa. Kia ora. For those of you who don't know me, I'm one of the staff members in the Freshwater Policy team, alongside with my colleague Taylor here, representing our team leader Naomi, who was the author of that report. She's currently on leave, so it comes down to us little minions to do the work, and kōrero to you. So just giving a brief overview of the Freshwater Policy Review. So this is reviewing specifically the Waikato Regional Plan, chapter of freshwater. The policy options are still being developed in a draft form, being supported by technical information and engagement. Currently, we've recently established a collaborative science advisory group, which is meeting right now upstairs, working through some of the technical science information to support our policy options. We also have the NTM, which is Ngā Tira Mātauranga, which has resumed this year to get feedback on policy options from mana whenua representatives. We have an ongoing relationship through the Waiora Co-Governance Committee and Te Rōpū Hautū, in which we have a collaborative engagement approach to work through options that the team is developing. Currently, we've paused, delayed sector engagement for the moment, just because of the way timeframes have worked out. But for the moment, the way that the review is progressing is we are still in the draft policy options, scoping out different options that we can then progress from there. It is still continuing, even though there has been some discussion around what the implications are from the recent government announcements and amendments to the RMA around delaying notification. There are some exemptions for us in there around freshwater policy reviews, so that the policy option scoping and development is still progressing nonetheless. The RMA will be replaced by two acts, the Natural Environment Act and the Planning Act, similar to what was proposed previously under the previous government, but with some changes to that, but in structure similar. There was also recent RMA amendments with some significant implications for the regional plan, giving the minister powers to modify or remove provisions from a plan should they hinder economic growth, development capacity, or employment. So there's those implications there. Hopefully that won't happen for us. Hopefully we meet the threshold that they are happy with. But that is something that we need to take into consideration for the moment. So what that means for the new system, we will see. There's also a further consultation. Recently, around the middle of the year, the government released the first draft of consultation documents for a new national policy statement on freshwater management. We submitted as council, we made some submissions on that, raising points, and that has been taken back by MFE, and there will be a new consultation document with some draft options, which should be given to us later this year. There's also the final report from the final commission report from the committee around the water services bill has been recently released. That has resulted in wastewater and stormwater, I believe, standards that are universal across the country that we have to apply. Though there's also been some conversations around the implications on Te Ture Whaimana through that. What does that mean? And there's some conversations ongoing with that. With PC1, we've recently had some minutes released from the court around that a couple of days ago. Our team's still working through what that means, but hopefully we'll get something out of PC1, something finalized either end of this year or early next year. Always a question mark with PC1. See how it goes. So that's a high level overview of the report. Any questions?
Any?
Kia ora, Julian. Nice to see you on, well, is it nice to see you on that side of the table? I don't know. It was good having you on our side of the table. Thanks for the report. Just wanted to share with other members who aren't familiar with the work of the Waikato Committee that has been formed. We've met a couple of times, and the intention is to take the next 4 months to allow some of us to not get under the hood, but have a deeper understanding of some of the issues that the freshwater policy review will try and tackle. So just, I guess, to our members, to let you know about that. And I think if you wanted to attend, it would be useful to jump in on those more in-depth briefings that we intend to have over the next 4 months. We're, as an iwi, really concerned with the direction of this current government for obvious reasons, and the direction that they're heading in terms of the RMA and I guess the secondary status that they look to be wanting to give to Te Tiriti. So I guess going forward, like we have for a number of legislative reforms, policy reviews, just looking to, I guess, be on the same page where we can in our responses back to government. Just in terms of PC1, the sooner that can get embedded, the better. From our perspective, we've put a huge investment of time and money into, like many others, into trying to see that through, and it's great to have some of those provisions already operational, but the sooner we can just get on with doing the mahi that needs to be done, the better. Very aware that there's quite a bit, like in this age of social media and over information sharing, the environment for disinformation to be shared is rife. And, in a number of different forums, we've been talking about the need to really proactively just engage with our communities so that they understand the genesis, the work that's been done around PC1 and what the purpose of that is. So PC1's its own thing, Te Ture Whaimana as well, our Te Tiriti settlements as well. So I think going forward, as we look to review our strategic work program having a piece of work around, just proactive and ongoing education and communication with our communities, so that they're getting factual information rather than, I guess, the void being filled with what could potentially be considered disinformation. So we'll talk about that when we come to our strategic work plan review. But really just wanted to highlight that important fact, particularly in this time that we're living in right now. I'd hate to see all of the good work that's been done either undermined or a whole lot of energy being distracted and given to the wrong things, rather than that energy and effort being given to actually getting on and doing better for our current generations and our future generations. So, kia ora, just wanted to say that, and thank you for the paper, and I'm happy to move it. Kia ora.
Thank you for those comments, Madam Co-Chair. I certainly endorse the void that is currently being filled, and we all know the time frame that we, particularly as counselors, are currently in, and it's really concerning to me how some candidates are using the void of information to create fear and feed into the misunderstandings in our communities. I don't think that serves our communities. I don't think it serves our decision making. And I don't think it serves the future of the people we are meant to be here to act in service of. So I certainly would love to see incorporated into our work program, both as a JMA, but also as a council. There is a real need to inform our communities about particularly Plan Change 1, what its origin story is, what it's trying to accomplish, what a council can or cannot do at this stage. Confusing our communities does not serve. So I would like to see us put resources into making sure that our communities are taking the journey with us, do understand the reasoning, the rationale, and can engage productively with it. Any other comments? We've got a mover in co-chair Jackie. I'll have to a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Kia ora.
Kia ora. Thank you so much. We're now on to item 7.4 on page 89 of your agenda. The record of meeting actions. Ashley, with her screeds of spreadsheet.
Now I'm going to pull this very close this time and speak louder.
Very good.
Morena koutou. So I've been uffing the recorded actions that fall out of our co-governance meetings for just over a year now. This is a standing item, and my intention is that it allows the committee just to get a really clear view of what's been progressed as a result of our co-governance meetings, just ensuring that our kōrero is not lost. I haven't been closely involved in the detail of all the recorded actions, but I just want to highlight some of the key areas that have been progressed. So if we turn to page 91 of the agenda, one of the recorded actions at line 8 states that the parties will continue to explore the geographic extension of the JMA. Jackie, that was touched by you this morning. I just want to reinforce that we have captured this and we'll continue to report our progress against it. At the time of noting that action, staff had carried out a preliminary assessment to identify what areas of the JMA could potentially be included within a proposed geographic extension. At the time, the committee endorsed a set of recommendations for the JMA. Those changes were centred around bringing the JMA in line with current practice and were focused on the current geographic scope. Where we're at with that review process right now is that both parties are undertaking a external legal review of those recommended changes and we'll come back to the committee with the outcome of that. I also want to note the recorded action at page 95, row 16. And that is around shaping our induction process for the newly elected council. We have picked this one up. Our program will kick off from October 2025 through to June 2026. It'll include modules on te tiriti and treaty settlement obligations. And we have initiated that kōrero with kaimahi from Waikato Tainui to look at how we can bring together river iwi to provide a bit of educational piece on settlements collectively and then also look to engage with Waikato Tainui specifically. There was also a recorded action at page 97 around long-term plan consultation, which of course was tabled as an agenda item today and we'll continue to report against that. And lastly, I just want to note the number of actions that have been recorded regarding the next review of our strategic work program. That'll certainly be a discussion that will feed directly into those long-term plan kōrero. So we will be progressing that in the coming weeks. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Oh, Councillor Mahuta.
Kia ora, and thank you for the work done to record the actions. Just at page 95, council induction. I didn't want to take away from what's being planned, but it was important that iwi induct new elected members into the relationship. Council staff can't do that. And I think the point I made at probably the last two meetings was that iwi induction into the settlement does not replace council's role to do it, but is factually required. Otherwise, we spend too long in a conversation about settlement, but not with the iwi as principles. So again, council can do what it needs to do, but I would double down with Waikato Tainui that you need to induct new members to council yourselves, because nothing can replace the relationship at the table. Thank you.
Kia ora Tipa, just acknowledging that comment. I guess we need to think about how best to do that as an iwi, given that we've got a number of other JMA partners as well. So I guess we'll pick that up as a team and get back to the appropriate person. We'll come through Marley on our thoughts around how best to achieve that very important, I guess, start to any new triennium with all of our local government partners.
And I agree we should sit in the room with everyone else, but our responsibilities to you are a little bit different, and I worry that it took my members too long to get around an understanding table with iwi. So, kei te iwi te tikanga, but the quicker I think we're talking first principles with you as settlers of the settlement, with council as a party to it, it sets up the right governing relationship. Otherwise, we're always talking about iwi as a constituent byproduct of these arrangements, not as the principles. So, kei a koutou, kia ora.
Councillor Kneebone.
Oh, kia ora, Madam Chair, thank you. Just following on from Tipa's kōrero, which I agree with, we also had I think it was Tarrant the other day with the JMA there, we had a broadly similar conversation as well in acknowledging Waikato Tainui as the initiators of the settlement. Still, we were just talking about potential options, and it was all just thinking aloud of potentially meeting with all of the river iwi in one room at some point, as well as councillors as has been discussed, just to try and front foot that. So just wanted to note that conversation's been alive in other JMAs as well. Thank you.
Councillor Nicol.
Thanks. Yep. No, that I was just drafting some email and for CE on inductions and things. Top of mind. It might seem really minor, but I had a really good experience with Raukawa in this traineum where they actually we happened to go and visit them in Tokoroa, but we got given a sheet of paper which had faces and names on it. It seems so simple, but I think
Huge,
I
eh?
would like us to do that for regional councillors to be able to hand out as we go around the region at the start of the traineum, because there's a lot of us and there's a lot of district councillors and it might help. But equally, it was a good experience for me, even in the second term councillors, because there's often a lot of support staff in the TAIO team. And then there's obviously the trustees, and it's quite, you want to know which is which, but it's only the second meeting and you're still figuring it out. So let's not neglect the real simple stuff where we can hopefully jump forward, because I think it's the meeting people in person thing that is critically important, but partnering that with having enough information to be able to hold a coherent conversation with each other and not disappoint each other in the first meeting either. So it's just trying to get that balance right, and that's some of the stuff that I just passed on, reflecting from years ago. Yeah.
Councillor Nebon, do you have another
Oh,
comment?
just another one. Just recalling the conversation we had at Terra. To my mind, it should be broader than just the members of these JMA committees. It should be the whole council, because these recommendations go back to council. As you well know, that's been a bit challenging as well. So hence the suggestion to try and do some sort of joint thing. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Thank you.
No, I think that's very good. I think that the other comment I would make is I wonder if there's any benefit in bringing in some of the historical participants that were involved in establishing these JMAs. You know, I certainly have seen them make comments. It would be, I think, useful to understand the original intent when chairs or mayors chose to sign up to these JMAs. I think it's useful content in terms of context, exactly, and where we are now.
Which actually starts at our settlement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Councillor Clarkson.
Yeah, I wanted to just support that comment. I've just been through an induction process for tōpuni kokorangi in Taranaki, and that is exactly what happened. So people who had actually held the pen in producing the vesting act for Te Papakura o Taranaki were in the room, and they were asked to explain some of the wording and the meaning sitting behind it, and it was extremely powerful. So I just wanted to support that notion, because as I said, I've just been through that experience. It was extremely rewarding to be able to hear from the people who actually caused the vesting act to be established.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we need to think about developing something that's enduring rather than, I guess, us, the iwi, needing to educate every 3 years, every time there's a change around your table.
Yeah.
So we'll think about it as a team, and it'll probably include a whole range of the things that have already been discussed. But yeah, I think developing things that are enduring rather than one-off is really important. In terms of the Waikato Raupatu River settlement, Waikato River Raupatu settlement, some of the collateral that the Waikato River Authority are developing, you know, will be some of the, I guess, the material that you're looking for. Yeah, so just hearing all of the ideas, great ideas. Leave that with us, and we'll come back through Marley with how we propose to move forward with not just induction of new regional council staff or elected members, but material that might be useful for your staff as well, so that, you know, we're not being asked to tell the same story over and over again.
Yeah, well, and also that is equally useful to the broader members of our community, eh? So first and foremost, we need to make sure we're all on board, but I think that we have an obligation also to take our community with us. All right. Sorry, Councillor Nicol?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that point. It was actually on the last page, page 8 of 8, the last row was information sharing, and it was about Tauranga Whenua providing the co-governance committee with a monthly summary of council resolutions by email. And yeah, I did write a note next to it saying who else would benefit from this. So it's just talking to your same point that when something comes up through here, maybe it could modularly multiply, because I think that's something where we also don't update the community on a whole lot. We do, but there's other ways of doing it as well.
It's got to get on TikTok. That's what you got to do. All right. So, sorry, any other? Nope. All good. Do I have a? Sorry.
Just through the chair. Really tautoko and support the ideas. We were just chatting that people are after understanding. Hey, so if there's the opportunity for understanding, then we won't have to repeat doing this, but then everyone will take the opportunity within their own vehicles, to be able to do that. And that just creates the moving forward together component. But yeah, ka pai.
All right. Do I have a mover, Councillor, sorry, Trustee?
Can I just ask for something to be added on the one-off actions? If we can have timeframes put next to them, so that it's not just you know, left floating.
Yeah. But if he's moving, if he moved it, do I need a
I can
different
still move
mover?
it. That's fine.
Right.
Because on that, following on from Jackie, the point, at least if within the next 12 months, pieces have dates, because I see the ongoing and stuff on a lot of tables, and I get how it could be hard to project longer term stuff, but especially if it's in the next 6 or 12 months, it'd be really good to have dates. Yeah.
All right. So I've got Jen and Jen. No, I've got co-chair Jackie. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. All right. Ashley again. 7.5. This is on page 128. Agenda packs. Am I right? Wait a minute, where am I at? Sorry, on 98, sorry, 98. The joint actions update.
Thank you. I'd just like to take the report as read, but I'll take the opportunity to highlight a few key points. The overall message of the report is that strong progress has been made within the strategic work program across this current triennium. We are almost at the stage of shifting from one-off actions to ongoing delivery. There is one area within the work program that contains overdue actions, and that relates to the development of a reporting tool for Te Ture Whaimana. We have provided frequent updates on this development. At the previous co-governance meeting in June, we presented a visual prototype. We then held a workshop with River Iwi, which included members from various co-governance committees and Kaimahi, so that we could showcase that visual prototype and a lot of the feedback at the time emphasised that we should be simplifying the information as much as possible, presenting what we are not doing to give effect to Te Ture Whaimana, so that we are highlighting the gaps, and that we should be integrating the reporting as much as possible with BAU, so that it's efficient and easy for staff to maintain. There was also discussion about introducing different views for different end users, so that each group can access information that is most relevant to them. The next step in this line of work is to hold another workshop. Due to the unavailability of Waikato Tainui members, we weren't able to have that same kōrero with you, but the intention is that we'll hold another one in the coming weeks, just so that we can show the prototype, talk about the progress, and really try and get that over the line. Page 101 of your agenda pack summarises all of the achievements through the strategic program, all of those actions that have been completed, namely site visits, the signing of a service level agreement to enhance iwi capacity funding, stronger procurement links with tribally affiliated businesses, and a joint submission on WRC's long-term plan, just to name a few. But if there are no questions in regards to the strategic program, I will leave it there.
Any comments or questions from committee members? As a fantastic list of bullet points of things done. Well done. Well done, everybody. That is, that's outstanding. It's great to see progress being made. And I know that a lot of work goes into making that progress. And I just want to acknowledge that and say thank you for all of your efforts. It's really meaningful for the members of this committee, but also for the collective people that we all represent.
Kia ora tātou, ko Nicholas Manike, ko Chairman Mahine. Madam Chairs, given it's the last committee meeting, we've pulled together a brief number of slides just to give you a bit of an update on where we've gotten to, where we've come from and where we've gotten to on our joint land management strategy, Toi Tū Te Whenua. So, Madam Chairs, if it's fine with you, we can just whiz through the slides, give you an update. And
We got time. You know, let's relish what's been achieved.
Thank you. Thank you. In terms of what we've achieved, accomplished together, look back over the past 18 months, say early last year, Toi Tū Te Whenua, our land management strategy was established. Now that's up and running. In line and concurrent with developing that strategy, we developed a implementation plan. So that has some good, robust and measurable actions in place. And as part of that, probably one of the most important things is that we've got this joint collaboration between Waikato Tainui staff and our Waikato regional staff as well. So those are the key outcomes that we've accomplished to date. With regard to Mahi, the implementation plan, it's happy to say that all the one-off actions have now been completed. We refer to these one-off actions as the key building blocks in order to deliver on the strategy. In particular, the processes. These processes allow for Waikato Tainui participation in the management and use of settlement lands. And so we've got processes that can facilitate their access, the opportunity for, when I say Waikato Tainui, also mean Waikato Tainui marae, to also occupy settlement lands and dispute resolutions. And we've incorporated some BAU, some annual processes in the help deliver on the strategy itself. Another important component that Harman and the team accomplished was to incorporate Waikato Tainui engagement and priorities in any relicensing of settlements plans. And as a result of the implementation plan, there's now a annual work program of ongoing initiatives that work on. A key process that really pulls together this mahi is the annual inspections. And so the team go out every year to inspect all of our settlement lands, ensure they are exemplar and meet all the regulatory legal requirements, but also to identify opportunities. It's this annual inspection process that actually triggers other annual processes that relate to reporting back to Waikato Tainui and the looking at RFR opportunities as well. We've shared a similar slide in the past in terms of the annual reporting. So after Harman and his team goes out and looks at the settlement lands, we now know where these lands are, what condition they're in, how we're looking after it, and what needs to be done in terms of potential opportunity. Maybe I'll ask Harman to just touch on.
Yeah, so every
We'll just
year,
get you to pull the mic over just since we've got members online.
yeah, no, sorry, thank you. Yeah, so every year we go out and inspect the land on site and make a list of the defects and the actions fixed, and then we do an annual report to Waikato Tainui, share with Jaden and the team.
Madam Chair, you made mention about being enduring, and so the annual inspections and the reporting also trigger an RFR opportunity or look into RFR opportunities. So many people think of RFR as a one-off event, but it's actually ongoing. And so the RFR opportunities will arise through the annual inspections. We've previously made mention that the team were looking at a number of options. It's kind of like trickled down to probably only one option. The settlement land is not like a plot of land of commercial land in the CBD. So it's not always not land that can be necessarily used for a lot of options. For a lot of options, being floodplains adjacent to the river, potentially having infrastructure on it. But Orams Road is an opportunity that the team are looking into. With regard to the RFR, Taipupaki, the claims manager for Waikato Tainui, came in and did a presentation to council. His video was recorded and it's been embedded into the regional council website. We've also got a copy of the Waikato Tainui right of first refusal statement that's been put into the website as well. And so that's there for as a learning opportunity for general council staff and councillors. In terms of the mahi that's done on the ground, I'll hand over to Harman. He's the one that did all of this mahi, and although a lot of this mahi has been done on settlement lands, but some of it is on the wider tribal rohe lands.
Yeah, so just to be a proactive to cover the new regulations coming up, the PC1 and the Freshwater, we made a effort just to retire a lot of wetland areas. So there was so not all of them are settlement land, but that's WRC on land. So in last year we did around 6 kilometers of new fencing and retire around 3 hectares of wetland area. I think our team presented this to another committee last week or a couple of weeks ago, but the question was, out of these 40 hectares, we working with river care and planting around 9 hectares of.
In terms of next steps, given that the building blocks for the strategy and the implementation plan up and running, the team were considering reporting back on a 6-monthly basis on some of the real mahi on the ground and what's actually being done and what's planned to be done into the future. There's some tasks that Tāmoku has been working closely with Harman in terms of working with the Waikato Tainui marae in terms of what are their priorities on settlement lands adjacent to their respective marae. As mentioned earlier, the annual inspections and the RFR opportunities, the reporting back to Waikato Tainui, these are now BAU. now BAU. They all occur every year. Madam Chair, just the last couple of slides, just to give you an update on one of our special projects. The special project approach that we've taken for the strategy and the implementation plan works quite well because it kind of like delivers on the ground, tangible, something on the ground, and it actually focuses everyone's efforts on something physical that can be delivered within the community. So just a quick background. This is a site of significance. The land was returned to Waikato Tainui as part of the river settlement. It's next to the Waihi floodgates. It's a piece of land that's got quite strong cultural significance to many of them, all of the marae in Huntly and the surrounding marae and around Huntly, with a direct link to the Kingitanga, and it being a traditional waka landing site. Location. And I've shared a couple of these photographs. Pass. In terms of where we're currently at, so stage one was the design and consenting. That's now been completed. So all the master planning, the engineering, the detailed design for the next stage, which is construction, have been completed. A couple of months ago, the Regional Council issued the resource consents, and last month the District Council came through with the consents as well. And so just wanted to acknowledge both councils. They have contributed in kind to the processing of those consents, and also wanted to acknowledge the other parties who made significant cash contributions, particularly Waikato Tainui, the River Authority, and Genesis. We're currently up to stage 2 now. So stage 2 is the actual construction and repair and restoration of the site. In terms of being up to stage 2, we're up to submitted applications to the Waikato River Authority and other funding sources to help fund the construction of the repair and restoration of the particular site. Just want to acknowledge Jaden and Waikato Tainui in terms of their financial contribution to stage 2, as well as Genesis as well. We'll see you, and we'll wait to hear back from the River Authority, but that's the next stage of the project. So, cheers.
It'd be a great future field trip, because understanding the significance of that site, I think is part of developing our shared understanding, right? Sorry, did you have anything further, or do you want to? Okay. Trustee Turner.
Just in the, through the chair, in the picture you provided, are you able to share who that was hopping off the boat to go to Waihipa? And Tipa might be able to share.
Councillor Mahuta. Oh, sorry, I can hear Councillor Mahuta talking, but we can't really hear you. Can you try again, Tipa?
Kia ora, can you hear me?
There we go. There we go.
I can't really enlarge the photo from where I am, but I think it's Minister McIntyre attending a paukai at Waihi. To that event, our paukai is the next paukai, Pamela, and to the members in the room. 8th of October, you don't require an invitation, no mai haere mai. That's the best site visit date I can give you. Thank you.
And prior to the construction of Tūrangawae Marae, Waihipa was primary marae for the Kingitanga. And so all from King Tawhio up to the current Te Arekinui, Queenie Ngā Waihonui Te Pō, that's one of her homes. And so also on that photo is Premier, I don't think they had Prime Ministers then, but Premier Snedden.
Snedden, McIntyre, yeah.
who was visiting King Mahuta at that particular time. There was no State Highway 1 in those days, and so the train tracks were on the other side, the east side. They used to catch the Wakatoa. I think this one may be Tahiti Tiki Tiki. Travel and take them to the Wakatauranga that we're looking to restore, and then they will go from there, meet with the king and dignitaries, and then return back to the waiting train via the Waikato.
So sharply dressed, top hats and all.
Happy to move receipt of the report and thank the team, Madam Chair.
Yeah, happy to second. And yeah, the elected members aren't up to much on the 8th of October, so wouldn't mind knowing when and where. And I think that would be a good thing to send out. Thanks.
Great. All right. Any further discussion? Oh, Trustee Turner.
So just wanted to share, Tipa, and this is a really good example of how back in the day, well, there were probably two highways, which was one was the rail and the other was the river. And so back then, you know, the whānau were kaitiaki of that in the different places as mana whenua, and being able to look after that and bring our dignitaries from all across the world, really. So really just wanting to take their trip back in time to say that there were the principles of kaitiakitanga that and places that could be used, which people might not think can be used, but were used, and just connecting back into the use of the whenua for oranga well-being for our next generations to retain our history as well. Kia ora.
Madam Co-Chair.
Just want to thank you for the report, Ashley, and for the update on Mahia to Mahi, how that's going. I think that the report, I was going to save this to the end, but you might leave before we finish. I think the report really highlights the mahi that we've managed to get through, plan, and actually achieve over this triennium. There are a whole heap of other things that we've managed to achieve in this triennium that aren't on that list. And I was just having a look at, you know, what some of those are. So the Kimihia Lake Restoration, Opuatia, Wetland Restoration, the Ngā Waio Waikato program, you know, these are huge, real programs on the ground. The Iaroa mahi that we've been involved in that hopefully will finish soon. A lot of the policy and legislation, advocacy and submissions that we've prepared that have been aligned. You know, they haven't always been aligned, but by and large, they've been aligned. And the mahi that's obviously listed in the report. You know, the Toitu Te Whenua work, the review of the co-managed lands agreement, the review of the joint management agreement. These are long-standing, outstanding items that we've managed to complete this triennium. The Whangamarino Action Plan, having funding to actually support that mahi happening, which has meant that we're now talking together around the table, are big achievements. They're the beginnings, but they're big in terms of you can't make change if you don't start. So the fact that we're starting and continuing to work together is something that I'm really proud of for this committee. You know, it's not always easy, and it's a shame that Councillor Knoll has left, but the Motu Karaka drainage scheme, the CIDIF work program, we don't always have the same views on things, but at least we can talk about them together and wrestle with those, you know, sometimes ideological differences in a respectful way and in a productive way. So I just really want to mihi to the team. So to Neville, who's left or retired from Regional Council, Marley, Tūtahanga, Ashley, seeing you grow in the last few years has been wonderful, Brooke and Dave, and all of the Regional Council members around the table. Just want to thank you for a really productive triennium. This is my third, I guess, round of regional councillors that I've been on this committee with, and it's not always like this. Pamela, you and I, we don't always agree on things, on everything, but at least we can have the conversation. It's always in a respectful way, and we always find that connection, For us, it's taniwha and our taiao. So really just want to thank the team for all the mahi. Just say how proud we are of the mahi that we've managed to achieve together. But we can always do more. Noel will always say, oh, we're not doing enough. And he's right, we should hear that, but also take time to acknowledge the work that has been done. So the waka tauranga, immensely important, and I hear what Nicholas is saying around having a work program that focuses on real things, rather than it being so big that you don't necessarily achieve anything because it's so big. So getting that mix between the big and the very focused, I think, is something that we've struck well in our work program, and look forward to refreshing our work program so we can shift the dial some more. But yeah, just to acknowledge the Regional Council, you, Pamela. I know that it's a huge amount of resource that Regional Council provides to this committee through Marley and her team, and really just want to acknowledge the progress that we've made and hope that that progress continues.
Yes.
Kia ora.
Yeah. Thank you so much for those words, Madam Co-Chair. And as this is our last item, we don't really have another item. We're just going to dump it all into this one because it really is about a reflection of what we have collectively achieved. And it has been such a privilege to sit up here alongside you, Jackie. And yes, I realize that sometimes we have the odd phone call where we have to check in and go, oh, wait a minute, how are we going to get progress on this? But we do. We find progress, and so much of it, I believe, does come back to where you find connection. And that has been so special to me. I feel so immensely privileged to have been able to co-chair this committee. And I reiterate your desire for continued progress, right? We will have, in a matter of weeks, a new council. And I hope that the tone, the tenor, the enthusiasm, the commitment to making progress as treaty partners in this rohi, I hope that it continues. Our communities are all collectively better for the progress that we make together. So it has been a fantastic privilege, and I'm very, very thankful. Very, very thankful. So I don't know if anybody else wanted to. Councillor Mahuta.
Tēnā korua, thank you both for your reflections. And again, the success of the committee is the success of the chair, so nei anō te mihi o te komiti kia korua. I'm just going to push towards the Wakatauranga example, whanaunga, and ask that we, I don't know the status of the project, but I know Ngāti Naho expressed during their support of Te Aroa being launched, the ongoing care and restoration of Te Aroa the Waka. So if I could just tag that somewhere for Ngāti Naho for follow-ups by whomever. At the moment, I think it is in Greg's team, but it probably is something that should be reported to here, because when it did become an issue, I don't know that we brought it back here. So I just want to close off that loop. As far as I understand it, we're all good now. I'd like to ask a question for Ngāti Mahuta, the status of those conversations. I'd like to request an action be registered on behalf of council, to your point, Chair Pamela, that we at least record our stories about the river settlements, because some of those people are of an age now. And if we don't start collecting their stories, being, I don't know, Chair Buckley at the time, Awaiatu, but they all have 10 more years on them. And I would like to register in these minutes and in the formal meeting of council this week an acknowledgement to Maxine Moanatu Whangai on her untimely and a citation of her contribution as a commissioner and to other items of council work that she completed and notwithstanding her candidacy. So, nei anō te mihi kia korua. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Anything else?
That's through the chair. Just wondering if we're able to possibly go around. Go around. We usually go to our left on the yeah.
I've just mentioned that, yeah, huge privilege to be part of this, not once, but twice so far, and really, really appreciate all of the mahi put in staff and the elected members that have made this through its journey so far. And I really liked the conversation we had earlier about how it made me reflect how, you know, we are just a moment in time of that journey. So I think that would be really good to impress upon whoever's on the committee next time early on as well. You know, it's not all about you at this point in time. It's a point of a larger journey.
Microphone.
So yeah, just acknowledging all of the members and who have been a part of you know, this term, this part in time, but really want to acknowledge the mahi that has been completed in this term, and that be a challenge for the next term coming on. That you know, identify those goals and really go for the those collective outcomes that we want to, and then agree to disagree. But mahi tahi, sitting here for the well-being of everybody. And I just reminded Councillor Mahuta, I like your reminding of us in our lanes and how do we do our jobs for the seats that we're filling. And you've been, it's been really refreshing to know that you're for whanaunga, but also wearing your regional council hat and asking those really good questions. I really appreciate all of the questions that have come out and being a part of the team working on behalf of everybody. Kia ora. Mihi ana ki a tātou ngā kaimahi, Māli, the team, and Neville, you know, tōna reo e kore I rongo, I tēnā no, tōna wairua, kei konei tonu. Kia ora.
Ruth, any comment?
Yeah, well, I'm in a situation really of thinking about, I just hope it does carry on. I'm sorry. I'm right in the middle of a campaign at the moment, and I am somewhat concerned that possibly, and this is something for this JMA for the future, is how we really focus on getting the message more widely than the people who are in this room. Particularly the full set of councillors and that concept of the induction for all councillors. We've still got a lot of work to do in that space. I absolutely admire the progress that's been made in this term, but I'm a first-time councillor and I can tell you that actually I would like to see way more progress than this. I understand it was difficult in previous trienniums, but actually the point is, have we achieved our true potential? Answer, no. So I'm hoping to be back and to be participating in the next triennium. Thank you.
Me too. All right. I got to get us through the nuts and bolts of the motion. After all of those fabulous words of reflection, we'll get through the. We've got
just one thing. Just noting, Tipper's partai is probably no one from regional council in the room who can answer just around the Ngāti Mahuta updates, or Māli might be able to.
Kia ora, Madam Chair, so tira koutou, and thank you for your pātai, Councillor Mahuta. I'm not sure how widely the knowledge is across the committee about the mana whakahonua arohe process that has been initiated by Ngāti Mahuta, but our councillors, they are fully up to speed. Essentially, in August, earlier in August, Ngāti Mahuta initiated a mana whakahonua arohe with the Regional Council. It's a Resource Management Act agreement that can be initiated by an iwi authority. And we're currently working through a bit of a process to clarify if Ngāti Mahuta can indeed initiate a mana whakahonua arohe as an iwi authority. So that's the aspect that we're trying to work through. Given the kaupapa, we will add it to the list of things that this co-governance group would be really interested in, and we'll update co-governance going forward, as well as some of the other things that all of the other things that you identified, Councillor Mahuta, te Iaroa. Yes, I think that's something that we should probably bring back to one of the next co-governance meetings as well. But I might leave it there with regard to the Ngāti Mahuta process, but I'm happy to take any questions on it.
I might just add that the Ngāti Mahuta ki te hauauru mana whakahono arohe application is something that Waikato Tainui have supported them to be in a position where they can be engaged with directly on matters that affect their place, in particular kawhia, moana, taharoa, those types of activities. So just for those who didn't know, that's the position that Waikato Tainui have taken. Kia ora.
Tēnā korua, thank you.
All right, just to clear this last item, we've got a mover and a seconder to receive the reports and acknowledge the progress, et cetera, as is included in that motion. We've got a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. All right, so that brings us to the end of our meeting. Again, thank you to the committee members for all of your energy, your commitment, your attention, your attendance, your participation, and thank you to the staff that help us help usher us through the mahi that comes before this committee. So,
before asking Donald to close our hui for us, I just want to say all the best to you and your elections. Look forward to seeing the result. But again, just to reiterate how much we've enjoyed working alongside the committee members and the regional councillors that we've had the opportunity to work with over the last triennium. And in particular to you, Co-Chair Pamela, all the best. I've really appreciated working alongside you in this mahi, and I guess in mahi outside of this rōpū as well. So, kia ora, Don.
Kia ora tātou, we're going to do he honore, we're going to do that, waiata, a himene rānei, he himene, and then I'll do a little bit of a pani whakakapi kōrero, and then we'll go into kia tau. Ka pai? So we all might know that. Okay, our mani te ori, can they start our waiata?
Ngārongo ki te whenua, whakaaro,
te piringa,
Não fácil.
Thank you, Don. We'll declare the meeting closed at 12:07. Thanks, everyone.